Hello there. I believe we are recording. Welcome once again to Jones Art Gallery. And I am going to be doing one of my favorite pictures for you. We are doing this series of painted homes, okay, at the request of Miss Bethany at the Drake Council on Aging. And her idea was to kind of share it with people as they're kind of sheltering at home and so on and so forth. And we share them with everyone, okay? So everyone is welcome to view them and to try them and to have fun. And these tutorials are for if you're already this mad, wild painter, excellent. Just join and have some fun. And even if you have never picked up a paintbrush before in your entire life, you can still do these because they are step by step. It's like you can do it. And they're not particularly really hard things to do. They're really created with the idea that someone doesn't have any painting experience or maybe just a little, okay? So first of all, I'm going to show you what we're going to be painting. This is one of my very, very favorite pictures. It's not the first time that I have done this picture. I've done it several times, and today I was at my 6-year-old, actually she's 7 now, her birthday party. And she was one of the people that I did this with, and everyone kept saying, oh my God, that's so pretty, that's so pretty. And I was thinking, oh yeah, I wish I had mine back again. So I thought, we're going to do one, you and me, and it's going to be like totally awesome. So anyway, the things that you need is this, okay? So you want just to have some resource, and if you're picking up art packs from the Drake Council on Aging, this picture is included, but it doesn't have to be. You can see it right here. You can take a snapshot of it. You can look at this, okay? So you want this for sure. Okay, the other thing that you're going to need is a canvas, right? This is a big 16 by 20 canvas, but you can use any size canvas that you want. You could use a canvas board. A canvas board is canvas, and it is glued onto a board. Okay, this is a stretched canvas because they've taken the canvas and stretched it around a piece of wood, and I wonder what this is in the back here. They've stretched it onto a piece of wood and stapled it on the back. Okay, so this canvas has been stretched over a frame. So we're going to use a stretch canvas, but you can actually use any size and any kind that you want. And I don't know if you can see that there's a little bit of color and stuff on here. This is a repurposed canvas. I do a lot of fun in paints and painting. And so a lot of times, you know, I'll end up like this one doing the same picture a number of times. And typically I keep the one that I like the best, right? And then I just paint over, I just reprime the canvas and repurpose the canvas. There's no reason to just throw them away or have 10 of the same kind, all right? So you need your picture, you need a canvas, you're going to need brushes, all right? So a big brush or a big square head brush in order to do the background. And this picture it's a lot of blue and white, okay? So we're going to use a big square head brush for the background. I have a kind of rounded brush here, which I'm thinking we can dab the trees on with, the little white Christmas trees. Also, for those of you who don't have those, I actually brought out some Q-tips, some cotton swabs. Okay, and my thought is with that is that we could actually dab here, which I've not done before, but I'm thinking, let's give it a try. So when I come up with a new idea, I always like to kind of try it out. Okay, so we have brushes, and I always choose a detail brush also. Now I don't imagine that we'll need it too much. There's a little kind of housey thing. Actually, it's not really, it's really mountain. Okay, so you might always have a detail brush nearby, which is kind of a round-headed, smaller brush, okay, which you may or may not need, but I like to have it on hand. Okay, you need a palette. Oh, you can have an artist palette, which is it's usually made of wood. Disposable palettes look like kind of sheets of wax paper. They have a waxy foreground on them, front on them. And then you just, as you're done with them, you tear them off, throw them away. But you can actually use anything for a palette. You can use a paper plate like this. You can use a plastic coated paper plate. You could use wax paper. You have to have a humongous glass of hot cocoa. And this particular hot cocoa has a red sparkle in it. So if you have a glass of cocoa with a red sparkle in it, that's even better. Okay. So it's mandatory that you have this wonderful cup of hot cocoa. And try not to burn yourself drinking it. Okay. The other thing you need is water. Okay. When you're not using your brushes, put them in the water. Okay. Don't let the paint dry in your brushes, because then it will ruin your brushes, because you are using acrylic paint. Acrylic paint, and the acrylic paint that I took out for this picture, okay, like I said, this is pretty much a blue and white picture, but there's a lot of different values of blue. Some of the blues are really light, some of them a little bit on the darker side. So whatever blue you have is fine. Okay, I took out a couple of blues, but I'm not going to use them all. My point is that you can use any blue that you want. Okay, and the way that we can change the values of those blues is to some of the blues we can add a hint of green. We could add a hint of brown to them, or even a hint of black. Whenever you add brown to any color, you dust it. So if I were to add brown to the color pink, I would end up with a dusty rose. Okay. If you add black to any color, you gray it, right? So if I were to add this black to my blue, I would end up with kind of a slate blue, slate grayish, bluish color, right? Which I think that's a good idea for this picture. So besides your favorite color of blue, have some brown and green and some black nearby. And if you only have primary colors and black and white, that is okay too. If you were to mix red and green together, you would end up with brown. If you don't have a green, you would mix blue and yellow together. And you definitely have blue and yellow because those are primary colors. Primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And you can make just about any color from those three. Okay, so fear not. I'm sure you have everything you need. Don't put your water, whenever you're drinking anything, don't put it in the same container as your cleaning water, because I used to do that years and years and years ago until I started drinking my paint water. And I said, you know what? I'm not focused enough on this because I'm focusing on my picture. And so I decided to switch them around, and I don't make that mistake anymore. The other thing you will need is paper towels. Probably, if you're like me, a lot of paper towels. And I know I say this every video, but I still get teased about it. This is not a big roll of toilet paper. It is a big roll of paper towel. Okay, so we have brushes, we have a canvas, we have paint, we have palette, we have water to clean our brushes, we have some Q-tips or cotton swabs. Okay. What else do we need? We have hot cocoa. You can put anything in your cup that you want. Mine has hot cocoa in it. Put whatever you want in yours. Okay. So besides all those blues, we're going to need white. You won't need this much white. But if you do a lot of painting, white and black gets used a lot in a lot of pictures. So sometimes some of us buy the gallon. Okay, so this is white. Okay, so we have paint, we have brushes, we have water, and maybe we could have a little bit of music. That would be cool. Let's do some music. Already here. Okay, I'm going to turn it down low so that it doesn't mess up my video. Okay. We come out with these videos probably like we've been coming out with them every month for a while now. So, you know, get on, we're sharing them with the Worker Access, Drake at Access, GHAA, which is Behavioral Arts Association. We're sharing them everywhere for everybody. So any of those places have the links to, I think this is like my 12th video. And let me tell you, let me see, where is Albuquerque, Turkey? The last video I did was a rock painting. And we painted on a rock. And this is, they added a little sparkle to them. But this is Albuquerque, the turkey. Albuquerque was a turkey, 87, 85. So look for that tutorial if you don't already have it. It was awesomely good fun. Okay, let's start this picture without further ado. This picture is sitting on an easel. This is a table easel, as a matter of fact. You do not have to have your picture sitting on an easel. Sometimes when I paint, they're not on an easel at all. But for the sake of this video, and so that you can see what's going on here, stand it up a little bit. And actually, it's a little bit easier if it's kind of facing me, so I can paint on it. The other thing you'll notice is I have art clothes on, all right? Protect your area. I mean, I have an art room, and you can see from the table that it's very painted on. So if I get paint on the table, it's not a big deal. But acrylic paint, once it's dry, it's pretty permanent. So if you're painting and you want to protect your floor, protect your table, or wear paint clothes or smock, okay, so do those things, and you can get like plastic tablecloths from the dollar store. Cover your floors, cover your tables. Don't ruin your stuff. Okay, do that. I did, I made it hot. All right, so I'm gonna face it towards me a little bit, and maybe, oh, look at that. I think you can see it pretty good. Oh, let's go this way a little bit more. Like I said, this is a pretty decent size canvas. See the whole canvas? So all the way here. All right, I'm thinking I'm seeing the whole canvas here. Now, let me tell you, if I could do it this way, I don't know if I can paint that way. Let me tell you that I am not a videographer, so I apologize if this is not the best video job, but I think that could work. I think that could work. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is take a look at this picture, and I'm actually going to get a pencil and make this a circle, but after I paint the background. So maybe I'm going to save one of these plates that I'm using for a palette and put it. Is that even big enough? I don't want it even bigger than that. Okay, so hold that thought. I'm going to go and let me pause you for a second. I'm going to go find a plate. Okay, I'm back. All right, and what I found was this really huge round plastic container cover, which I'm going to use on here, way over here, I think, somewhere, right about here. Okay, and again, I'm going to actually outline this once I get the background done. This is 9.5 by 9.5. This is a 9.5 inch circle. Okay, so you could go ahead and outline it now if you wanted to, but when you paint the background, you don't want to have this haloing effect here. Okay, so I'm going to say paint the background first. Okay. So like I say, the thing you're going to need the most is probably white paint. So I'm taking my palette, and I'm going to give myself quite a bit quite a bit of white paint here. And this one is kind of running out of paint, so I apologize for the noise that it is making. Okay, so I don't know. Let's give us enough paint. So the background to this particular picture is blue. Okay, so I'm going to add some blue to my whites. And so whatever blue that you have, pick a blue that you like, and we're going to use that. So I have quite a few different colors of blue. So I could use this one. I could use this one, which I think is the winner. So I'm going to use this. This particular blue, if you have it, is called cerulean blue, right? But again, you can use any blue your heart desires. Okay, so I'm going to put my blue on this plate. Okay. And I'm wondering if I back up this camera, I might be able to see my plate as well. Yeah, that works. You can see the plate. Okay, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm putting my little picture up there. Okay. Oh, and look, I even got some on there already. Ah! Okay. So I'm moving my pencil and my 9.5-inch circle. And again, I'm using a 16 by 20 canvas. So obviously, if you're using a smaller canvas, you're not going to use a 9.5-inch circle. Okay, so I'm taking this white, if we can get to it in there. Okay, so I'm taking this white and I'm taking some of the white and moving it over. I'm actually taking quite a bit of the white and moving it over and adding some blue to it. Okay, so I'm mixing this light blue color, and I actually think I would like it a little bit darker. Right now, if you're wondering if both our pictures, yours and mine, are going to come out exactly the same, I will tell you right now the answer to that is no. Okay, so now that I like this color, I'm going to apply it to my canvas in nice smooth strokes. And I am going to do the corners and edges as well, okay, because if I go ahead and paint the edges of my canvas as well as the front of it, it gives me the option of framing it or not framing it. I could actually display it not framed. Now I will tell you that as an artist who survives off teaching and selling my artwork, that more of the artwork sells when it is framed. It has a more professional finished look to it. However, sometimes, you know, unless there's the right kind of frame on there, it can actually fight with the picture or take away from the picture. Sometimes students will put very beautiful and elaborate frames on pictures, and they actually detract from the beauty of the picture. Okay, so if you are framing, you want to obviously get a frame that complements your picture. Okay, so I have some white on here, so I'm going to just take some of the white and just right on the canvas kind of mix it in here. Because in the end, I do want some white in the sky, but I didn't quite mix enough blue paint here to cover my canvas. So I'm just going to take some more here and some more blue and just mix it. And if it is If it's not exactly the same color blue, although this is pretty ding dang dong close, it's okay because we're going to change the values and shades of this blue a number of times. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the radio because I'm afraid it's going to conflict. It's going to vie for your attention. Okay, so again, don't forget, do your sides, because if you're just doing this for yourself and you're not sure you want to, frame it, you won't have to if the picture continues off the sides, right? So do your edges. Do your edges. Acrylic paint dries relatively fast. Okay, so you'll be able to get that circle on there relatively soon. Okay, so we want to get a nice even coat of paint here. And sometimes I'm just picking out just the white and putting it in my sky. And what that is doing for me is just giving me a little bit of cloud, a little bit of clouds going on here. So move those clouds around a little bit. Move around. And again, we're not looking for perfection here. As a matter of fact, okay, your picture is a lot freer when it's not. A lot of artists are very detail oriented, which is absolutely awesome. And sometimes I do that myself, but a lot of times the pictures look a lot freer. They don't have a stiff feeling to them when you're a little bit looser with your strokes. So the idea here certainly is to get the background done. So, and let me sit down here. We're gonna go and do. Oops, I'm gonna fall off my chair. Do my edges. If I fall off my chair and you hear a thunk and then you'll know I fell off my chair. Which, I'm sorry to say, it won't be the first time, but hopefully the last one. Okay, so I want to do this side as well. Okay, so use a big brush and nice smooth strokes here. Okay, we're getting coverage. Here. So I am going to actually turn this around just like this. Okay, so that I can do the bottom like this. Okay, dragging paint over the bottom of my canvas. And again, let's get these edges done. Nice and smooth. Someone said to me, you must be really good at painting walls. And I have to tell you, I'm definitely not. I have a friend who was painting my walls upstairs. And I said, oh, let me help you. So I started painting and she said to me, would you mind not helping me? And I looked at her and she just kind of smiled, but I was like, oh, okay. Because apparently painting walls is different than doing artwork. Okay, so now move my stuff out of the way here. Okay, and I turned my picture back around. Okay, and I'm just going to smooth out some of these strokes here. And I'm going to leave this white in there because I like it. I like it's a nice kind of cloud thingy. Yeah. Okay, so let's move instructions. So if you look back here, there are some clouds and whatnot going on. So I'm just going to dip in my white paint, just the white a little bit. And I'm going to put some of these in, I think. Some of these clouds in. Okay. So I'm just kind of dragging them along here. and I'm just not blending them right into the canvas. Okay, let's move this back a little bit, this here a little bit, so you can see me just dipping into the white, and maybe a little bit on this side. And again, don't be too contrived about where you're putting them. I'm going to kind of put one up here somewhere, I think. Going to pull this cloud down a little bit. Give them a kind of feathery look. A little bit more white up in the sky. I think a little bit more down here. Okay, and some kind of fluffy, I think. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that there's quite a few clouds over here. Plus I have some mountain tops and whatnot. So I want to lighten this side just a tad, and also this side. Just add a little bit of white in there, and like I said, let's make them good. Let's make them fuzzy up in the sky. Good. Okay, I'm not going to do too much work here because we're going to put a 9.5-inch circle there. Okay, I just want a few little guys over here, I think. Okay, and if your clouds end up being too white for you, you don't like them, and you can't kind of blend them in, then you can always just dip in the blue a little bit, put some blue in there. Okay, so the cool thing about this is that you are in control. I like that. I like being in control. Okay, so I'm kind of liking this. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that, leaving it like that, and putting this brush in the water, because acrylic paints, once they dry, they have a tendency to become very permanent. So, so even on your brushes, if you let them dry on your brushes, then you won't be able to use your brushes anymore because they will be stiff. You could use them for dotted mandalas at that point. Okay, so after you have some of your hot cocoa, we are going to take, in my case, a 9.5-inch circle, and I'm going to put it right here. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to use a pencil and make a circle. Like that. And then I'm going to take a look and see if I can see my circle, which I kind of can. Yeah. Kind of can over here. I can't on the other side. So, go up like this. And I'm going to redo it here. I'm going to wet this pencil a little bit here. Okay, this is a watercolor pencil, so if I add a little water to it, that will actually loosen it up a little bit. You do not have to. You can use a regular pencil. Let's see now what she looks like. Ah, ha, ha! Success! Okay. So now that I have that, I'm going to clean my circle because it's actually the cap for something else. I'm going to clean my circle off a little bit, like so. And then I want this circle to look like a winter moon or a huge planet. It's a very kind of ethereal, realistic picture. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it really is quite lovely when it's done. So I'm going to switch to, it's kind of another square or flat brush, but it's a little bit rounded at the top. It's called a filbert. And you can use that, or you certainly do not need to. It's not mandatory. But I'm going to go ahead And see how this moon is lighter than what's going on around it? Okay, I'm going to dip into my white, right? And I'm going to put some white in here. And I am going to stay inside my circle. And I'm going to change the color of this. This blue down here, I actually want to make it a little bit darker. And what is this on here? Get that out there. Must have been on my cover because it's two little sparkles. All right, so I want to change some of the value. Like I said, this picture, it's kind of all blue. And it's a bunch of different shades of blue. Okay, so for this part down here, I want it to be a little bluer than what's going on up there. This side, I want it to be a little bit whiter. Okay. And again, going right along my outline here. Like this. Okay. I'm going to make this a little bit lighter up top here. Bring this in here. Again, paying attention to my guidelines. Let's bring this blue out here. Okay, so now I'm thinking I have all this cool stuff going on here. I'm going to add some of the darker blue to this side. How are you doing? Can you see? Okay. You can see. I'm actually going to take a teensy bit of brown. See if this guy is opened yet. Oh, definitely it's open. Teensy bit of brown. And I'm going to add a little bit of it to the blue, and you will see what happens there. I'm going to take some of the blue, and I'm going to just dip into that brown just a little bit. And see what happens. See what happens to my blue? It becomes like a dusty blue color, right? And I'm thinking that I want that like right around and in through here. Okay, now remember, if you decide that you really don't like it or you don't want it there, you can always change it, all right? You are the creator. We can always change something if we don't like it. And come around this edge a little bit more. And I'm going to really kind of, there's not much paint left on my brush, and the painting that I'm working on, the acrylics dry rather quickly. So now I'm just kind of pushing the paint into the moon. And like I said, it's almost dry here. But see these different values in here of blue. We would like to see some of that going on in here. Okay, so this is just straight blue. I'm blending it in over here. So I'm blending it into the blue that's here. Now taking a little bit more blue and bringing it right up against this edge and down into here. And then I think I want some up here as well. Okay. So our moon is going to have a lot of interesting kind of different values in it. Okay, so we have that going on. I'm going to push this into it. And again, I kind of let the brush run out of paint here so that I could kind of mush it into the color of what that's already on here. And believe it or not, there is a technical term for mushing your colors together. And in this case, it's called scumbling. And I came across that word during a demo that another artist was doing. And he said something about it. He was going to scumble. And I was like, wait. And like I interrupted the whole demo. And I'm like, what did you say? And he said, I'm going to scumble. And I said, is that a real word or did you make it up? And he said, no. He said, it's a real word, Joni. So, of course, being one that always needs, a little bit of proof, I guess, and I Googled it. I did a search. And sure enough, scumbling. Scumbling is a real word for this technique. Scumbling. Okay. So wherever the paint is a little bit too dry, pick up just a little bit of white and push it on in there because we want this to look like blue cheese here. Okay, get the bit in there. Ta-da. All right, so this moon, I have to say, looking very cool. Better. Okay. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of the white again. And I actually want to bring some of this cloud in front of my moon. I'm going to bring it right in over here because I can. And I'm also going to bring some in maybe over to here. Just so what that does for you is it creates a bit of perspective. So it means that the clouds are in fact in front of our moon. Very lightly, just drag it right in front of our moon. Okay, I'm using a pretty light and feathery touch here at this point. I'm gonna just the tip of the brush into the water. I'm gonna run it along the edge of my moon to kind of smooth out some of those scumbly lines. Ta-da. Okay, and just any kind of blend work that you need to do. You want to, we're gonna kind of finish this moon off a little bit before we move on to something else. And I'm going to add a little bit more white down here on my moon. I'm also going to take a little bit of this this brownish blue color, okay, which I'm going to have to make some more because I used it all. This time I'm going to add a little white to it, I think. And I'm going to bring it right in on this edge. Bring it into my moon. Okay, I like it. Okay. All right, so, and the reason that I did this is to give a little more contrast here. I'm liking the contrast that I'm getting. Okay. Let's blend you in. All right, I'm going to redo my cloud a little bit. Let's go here. Bring it out here. This one out here. So we end up with this really interesting kind of wintry moon here. Pull my cloud down just a little. And I'm going to step away from the painting and take a look at it from afar. Right now, there are some parts of my moon that look absolutely awesome, and other parts that are kind of getting lost a little bit. So that's, I'm going to look at my handout again. Let me just fix this area. Fix this area before as I'm talking away over here. Okay, so what I am noticing for myself is that there's not enough contrast between this moon and my background. And when I look at the contrast here and there, the background is a little bit darker, okay? And the moon shows up a little bit lighter. So I am going to make the top of my moon a little bit whiter, right here along the edge work here. Okay. Right. And once you put that paint in there, you want to blend in that paint. Okay, so it's not just a line kind of hanging out over there. Okay. And then the other thing I'm going to do is darken my background. Okay. So I'm actually going to use that blue with a teensy bit of the brown in it. And I think I am going to add a little bit of white to it. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Oh, mucho, it's beauteous. Okay, so I am going to add that to some of my background, especially around this beauteous moon I have created. Okay, this beautiful wintry moon. I was going to say mood. So let's bring this over here like this and doing my edges as well. Okay. So liking that a little bit. And I'm adding more white as I kind of move away here. I want to keep this side a little bit lighter. Let's go a little darker over here, maybe. Okay. Okay, a little bit darker. If you drop your paint on the floor, pick it up. There you go. And if the cover happens to be off, clean the paint off the floor. Okay, again, once that paint dries, it has a tendency to become permanently adhering to whatever you're spilling it on. So, so I'm going to smooth out. Can you still see me? Right. Get you a little closer. So what I've done is just darkened these corners and these edges just a little bit. Now I'm kind of smoothing out my strokes somewhat. Okay, but you can already see that the moon is really showing up a lot better now. Okay. Okay, so I'm taking my brownish, bluish paint, okay, and just really darkening this background a little bit. There we have it. Okay, good. So you can do this a number of ways. You can wet the brush a tiny bit and really spread that paint out. You can put some more paint on your brush, certainly. Okay, I'm gonna work with these clouds a little bit more here. Good. A little bit. Okay. Now I think what I would like to do, oops, wait a minute, let's blend this baby in over here. Okay, if you see a raw canvas underneath your paint and you don't quite have enough paint on there. Okay. Now I'm looking at this and I still want to darken quite a bit more. So I'm going to take a little bit more blue paint, not quite as much this time because I just want to darken around here. Okay, so I'm going to mix blue, brown, a little bit more brown. Okay, I am going to put a little bit of white in there. So I'm actually just changing the value or the shade of my blue. Okay. So, and the reason that I'm doing that is because I felt that my moon was getting lost in my background. So I made it darker. I made my background darker. My students tease me, darker. I'm like, yeah, darker. Okay, so this little guy is coming down here, and we're really getting some nice contrast now. Okay, here, and it's okay to have a little moon glow going around here. Okay, I'm getting like water and paint on my here. So I'm going to clean it up. Oh, you know what? I'm getting it everywhere. I have a student who leaves her art bag here, and it's going on her art bag. So I think the best thing I can do for her is move that art bag. Okay. Okay, so let's bring some of this down a little bit. Okay, and again, we don't need we can fade off into this bottom, because actually we're going to have a lot more different values of blues down here. Okay. So we'll go a little bit, just a little bit, just to make sure that we can tell the difference. I have to say, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Okay, let's go darker over here. When in doubt, darker. And as I mentioned earlier, I've done this particular picture a number of times, and every time I do it, it comes out a little bit different. And now you know why. Okay, let's bring in some of this color here. We're going to come up the side. Right, and again, using very broad strokes here. Let's put these babies in here. Nice broad, and I don't want to, again, I don't want to see raw canvas here. So if in fact you are, then you just don't quite have enough paint on your brush. Okay, let's do this here. Okay. So I don't want this to just be blue. I'm looking for kind of a slate, or even a dusty. When you add brown to it, you're dusting for sure. Okay. So, and there's white paint underneath here, which is kind of getting mixed in a little bit, and it's not a bad look. Okay, so let's darken this side as well. Bring it here. And actually, let's do this whole side. Okay. All right, let's grab a little more paint. Let's do this up here. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit of white. Right, and I'm going to add some more cloud work into here. Okay, coming in again, just kind of maybe pulling it down a little bit here. Okay, let this once again come in front of our moon a little bit. And as I say, when you do that, then you're actually putting the moon behind the clouds. Okay, and it gives you a picture perspective. It gives it depth. Okay, let's do some of this good stuff. Right, so we're getting some, I'm adding more clouds in over here. Okay. And sometimes we can get carried away with the clouds, Joan, but we won't bring that up right now. We'll let you slide. Let you slide a little bit. But I actually like all that cloud cover. So I'm going to put just a little bit more here. And again, I'm just using a paper plate as a palette here. Okay, so now I'm going to step back again. Oh, okay. Stepping back. Oh, mucho better. Yay. Okay. Liking it. Liking it. I have a new niece right now. She's just about 4 months old. And someone said, oh, you're going to teach her, how to paint and stuff? I said, hey, I have a plan for my niece. I said, all she needs in life, I said, is a paintbrush, chocolate chips, and a ukulele. So what else does a woman need? So, and actually, she probably could use a piano too. I have been kind of looking around for a piano. But don't tell her parents because I think they're afraid like she'll wake them up in the wee hours of the morning playing her piano. My sister, her son is now in his late 30s, and she's still complaining about the drum set I bought her son when he was 5 years old. I'm like, really now? That was so long ago. Just kind of get over it. I'm not sure she actually did. Okay, fix this a little bit. And the reason that I'm kind of fussing around with this background a little bit is because after the background is done, we don't want to have to go back and redo it. So now, before we put the trees on, before we put the snow mounds on and stuff, now's the time to really work with this background and make sure we like it. So even if you have to play around with it, 100 times, whatever it takes, get that thing done. Get it done. All right. Oh, don't trip. Okay, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. This little kind of grayish area in here looks really cool. I would like to bring in some more, like right there. So let's do it. And I just wanted to connect it to that piece that's already there. Okay, so we're just kind of dancing it in there. Yeah, a little bit of brown, a little bit of blue. Okay, and then dance. Dancing those colors in there. Okay, let's do a little bit more here. Let me see. Let me stand back a little bit. Huh. Okay, a little bit more brown, a little bit more blue, and a little bit more dancing. Dance, dance, dance. Bellissimo. We're liking it. That's beauteous. Oh, okay. Settle down. Okay, there we go. Let's fix this little piece up here. All right, now take another look at your background. Does it look the way we want it to look? I'm going to take the teensiest bit of blue here just add it right here. Let me see. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Just needed that tiny little bit. I have been helping the Greater Behavioral Arts Association with videoing some of their demo artists, and one of the artists that I am demoing or I taped was Susan Nealon. Hello, Susan. Um, and when she paints, I mean, she's been painting for a long time, and you can tell, she knows what she's doing, and so on and so on. But she like, I go like this, and then I paint in this shape of it, and it looks like, oh my God, is this going to actually be a picture, a nice picture? And they're gorgeous. They come out absolutely gorgeous. So I have been trying to free up my technique a little bit more because of you, Susan. Thank you. Okay, so I think I'm ready. I think my background is looking pretty good. I like the fact that my moon really shows up against the background. Um, and so the moon and the sky now is going to become the background for my trees and my ground. So have some more of your hot cocoa, yamola. Okay, and now what I want to do is put in this hill over here, just because I need to know where the heck it is. Okay, so I'm going to dip into my white, and this comes about halfway here. So I'm going to guess it's right about here, and give myself a little guide dot. Okay. So now if you look at this is kind of, those brush strokes are going off to the right a little bit. So actually I'm going to pick up this canvas a little bit, and this is kind of coming down here this way, and then it actually comes all the way to here like this. And again, okay, do you need to be exact? Absolutely not. Okay, so now let's bring these strokes down. Okay. So I'm just dipping into my white and bringing these strokes down this way. All right, down she goes. I'm gonna put a little water on my brush so I can get the direction I want. And again, this is just kind of going this way. So right now, I'm just kind of looking for direction. I'm definitely scumbling, not stumbling, scumbling. Okay, so I'm pushing the paint in a certain direction here. All right, and I don't necessarily want it to be even. I want to see some dark areas, some light areas. Because this is like a mound of snow. Okay, and it has some shadow on it from the trees that are there. Okay, so I am going to need some more white. And the tendency, at least for me, is to make, unless I'm using the mixed color, is to actually put out less paint than I think I'm going to need. And as I use my paint, to go ahead and add more if I need it, so on and so forth. I'm going to add, I added a lot of paint. Okay, and I'm actually going to kind of wipe this off of here because, as I say, it's quick to dry. Quick to dry on those rims. Okay, so this, I'm going to close up the cover on this paint so that the air does not get out of it, like so. then again, I'm going to kind of lift this and make sure your hands are don't have wet paint on them. Okay, if they have paint on them, just make sure they're not wet paint. Okay. So again, I'm taking this, adding the white to it, and I want to push it this way. I want the strokes to go this way. And so, like I said, it's quite okay if there's okay, some of the snow is going this way, some is going that way, but we want to push it kind of this way. Push it down, pull it down. Okay, and again, we're not looking for necessarily even here. Push it down this way. Push it down under here. Over here, I'm doing my edges. Okay, so now I have this snow-covered kind of mound here. Okay, and I'm going to dip into my blue a little bit and actually again pull some of this. Okay, I want it to look like a little bit of a hilly area here. So I'm actually pulling the paint down. And the white is still somewhat wet. Okay. So I'm actually going to take a teensy bit of my brown in here. Pull some of that. So, okay, going back into my blue. Pull, 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 and push. Okay. So this is giving us direction. So we have this mound here, which again we want to push and pull that way. Okay. And this is kind of going here, up here. Right? And there is, we're going to have trees over here. So we're actually going to mix some, again, some brown and blue together here. Okay. And at the top of this mound, I'm going to put some shadows. Okay. Shadows for my trees. Okay. They don't have to be well defined. Okay. I'm going to put some kind of hills. They're just kind of snow-covered hills back here, right? So this work that we're doing now, okay, again, it doesn't have to be well defined. We just want to actually see shapes back here, okay? See these shapes in these little areas of snow? So some of them come right up and over that mountain edge, over the moon. Okay, so I'm going to put those in there. This guy is behind here, right? So I'm just painting in these areas. And you know what? You do absolutely do not have to have them the same. Um, you may do whatever your heart desires. But I like some landscapey type of stuff going on here. And these kind of mountainy areas or hilly areas actually go all the way across your canvas. Now, they actually go off like into a gully or a little ditch back here. So I'm just going to just kind of put in some, like I said, almost hilly or mountainy areas here. And actually not even looking at the picture anymore. I'm just kind of doing my own thing. Okay, so we're going to have some of this going on over here. Okay, I'm going to make this area a little bit bluer. Okay, I do want to have this kind of go off in this direction a little bit. So I don't want to lose my slanting hill in through here. So I'm going to drag this paint down this way. Okay, which is what we were doing right along. Okay. So these are this is our tree shadows through here. Okay, make them a teensy bit darker. There's a few more tree shadows going on in this little gully down here. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit more shadow there as well. I'm actually dipping my brush in my blue, but not whole bunches. I'm going to make this side of my mountain like this. Again, I'm looking for 3D type of feeling and look in here. So I'm adding some different shades of blues in here so that now I look like one area is kind of in front of another. Okay, I'm going to dip in my brown and in my blue, and I'm going to put this hill in the front. Okay, so there's a little hill here. I'm going to pull it down like this. I'm going to give myself some white, and I'm going to drag the white this way. Okay, so that puts this little area kind of in the front here. And kind of darkening these hills a little. So they're not like a pure white. We want them to be kind of a bluish area, but not the same color blue as the background, or else it'll just blend in with your background. So it's going to be a little bit different, a little bit difference. Okay. They definitely have some snowy areas on these mountains or hills. Do it. Let's put them in. Okay, same thing here. I want to change the value of these a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go with the brownish blue color once again and put some of that in here just so we can see a little bit of difference. So even though if you look at this picture, you're going to say, oh yeah, this is a blue picture. And for sure it is. But it has a lot of different values of blues in it. Okay, so a little bit of white here where our shadow, tree shadow is here. Okay, and again with the brownish bluish color in through here. And again, I'm going to take a little bit of white and drag it down here and in through here. And this definitely gives us the feeling of one area being in front of another. Okay, So here again is our handout, all right? And now we're just working background. We're not thinking trees at this point, okay? So I just want to, again, kind of make sure I have some depth to my picture. Okay. These are definitely coming this way. Let's drag these this way. Okay, and give us another little shadow, like right here. Just for no good reason other than we want to. Ta-da! Okay, so now is the time where we stand back again, have a sip of cocoa, and doing a little evaluation here. And so look at that, and I said, oh my God. Awesome are you? Paper towel. Let's clean my brush off again. Yeah. Let's take another look. I have to say, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. This over here, I'm gonna put a little bit more white here because I kind of want this shadow to come down the hill a little bit. So right there, I think. Right there. Ta-da! Okay. I think we could be ready for trees. Now that I say that, let's do a little color here. A little bit of color here. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay. So now, I'm definitely thinking trees. Right? So if we look really closely at these trees, we can see some brown of the trees in here, okay? But I don't want to put lots and lots and lots in there. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 foreground trees. But the ones I want to work on are these in the back, all right? Because the big trees are going to go kind of in front of them, all right, in the foreground. So I think I'm going to give myself a little white dot because this tree, this one right here, is going to come up to about here. Okay, the next one is going to come to about here. And then this one is going to be up here. Okay, so I'm actually going to give myself a little bit of line work here. So, you know, it's okay to give yourself some guidelines here. So I have 3 big trees going on here, and I have 2 going like this. They're about halfway, and they're pretty close together. Okay, so this tree is going to come out to about here, I think. So I have actually 3 little trees in the background. I have one here, and one here, I think. Okay, so I don't know if you can see those really well, so I'm going to make them a little bit darker. Okay, here's my big trees over here. So these are just indications about where my trees are going to go. Okay, you can see them. All right. So now I want to put the trees in. Right, so I'm going to take, just going to dip in this brown just a little bit, and I'm going to put just the smallest traces, and I'm not even going to make solid lines here. Okay, I'm just going to break the lines so that we end up with a little bit of brown here and there. Okay. I don't want a lot of brown in my picture here. Good, good, good. Okay, so I have 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, and I have 1, 2. Now let's put another one right here. Okay, and you want to always do kind of what's best for your composition. Now you're using this as a guide, I'm using this as a guide, but not everything is going to come out exactly the same, nor should it. Okay, so you're always going to do what's best for your composition. So these trees actually come all the way down to the bottom of the picture. So I'm going to bring these all the way down. Okay, and there's definitely a slant here. So these are going to come down, but not as far as the other ones. Okay, so now we definitely need to have enough white here. Okay, so I'm going to use the same brush, but I'm going to dip into that, and I'm going to do these background trees here. So I have my 2 big ones. So I have one back here. Okay, so now watch how I'm doing this. Okay, I'm just kind of dabbing here. All right, my background trees. Now remember, as you go down your tree, the tree spreads out, it gets wider at the bottom. Okay, and that's why we're doing the background tree first. Okay. So in this one, it's coming down the hill is down here. So this one actually going to come all the way down here. Okay. So I have not re-dipped the brush yet, but I'm going to now. Okay, and it's kind of going down here like this. Okay. All right, so there is a tree, and that's just a little one back there. And the little ones actually have a little bit of blue connected to them. So I'm going to go blue and a little bit of that brown, because remember that in the background, those trees are going to take on the color of the background because they're in the background. Okay, so I'm adding this background color here so that this tree steps back, and the really white trees that I put in the foreground are going to stand out. Okay, so I'm going to take white again and a little bit of blue and a little bit of brown, and I'm going to do this tree. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit more brown here. So now this tree is going to actually begin to disappear into the background as well. Okay, we want this one down here. Okay, so we really want these to be darker, darker. Let's go darker, darker. All right, so now, okay, I have yet another tree here. So I'm going to do white, brown, and blue again. Again, we're having background trees. That's the first one. Here's the second one. There's one way in the back, which is really, really dark, and we don't quite see the whole thing. And then we have one that is in front of it. So let's do that one. Okay. Okay. And you can see that these are not coming all the way down because they're on the hill. They are on the hill. Okay, so those trees are doing that. So now we come to our first big tree, and I am going to use the biggest brush that I have for the big tree, which is the brush I used to originally put on the background. Okay. So, and I didn't clean it off really, really good because we're just doing blues on here. So I'm going to do the darker blue first, which is the blue with the brown in it, like this, because it's always easier to put highlight on afterwards. Okay. So this is actually the tallest tree in the group. Okay. So I'm going to just layer those on there like this. Okay. And again, as we're coming down the tree, it's really starting to spread out a little bit here. Okay. Down we go, down, down, down. And this one is coming down to here. So let's get all of this on here. Now, this tree is definitely in front of those two little trees. Okay, but let's go ahead and do, actually, do you want to do that background tree? Let's do this guy. Okay, and he's very white, actually. So let's put him on. Okay, and I'm just dabbing here. And as I get down towards the middle, I starting to dab kind of downward, pointing downward here. These are like white pines or something. I'm not a tree person, so if I don't quite get it right, don't get mad at me. Okay, so this one is coming all the way down here, like this. And then there's one actually beside it, right here. And you really can't, I'm trying to decide which one is actually in the middle. Because this one is actually darker than the other one. Okay, so let's go ahead and make it darker. Darker. And really pulling it in front of this moon a little bit, I think. Okay, so I have lots of trees on here, and I think I'm going to mix a little bit more brown and blue together with a little bit of brown. And I'm going to need a little bit more blue in here. And we still have lots of white, so we don't need more white. So again, I'm going to go blue and brown and some white. So I end up with this kind of really, I'm looking for a shadow. I'm trying to make shadows. So this, oh, nice. Okay. So this will actually be a nice shadowy color. So I'm coming out here. And again, I want to start coming down at this point. And I'm totally liking that. Okay, let's give it a little bit of highlight. Huh. Every time I do this, it comes out different. It's absolutely beauteous. Okay, so I'm going to take these two brushes and put them in the water and have some cocoa, which is no longer hot. And I'm going to take this round fuzzy brush and just zip it into the white a little bit. And I'm going to put little bits of highlights on these trees. Okay, so I'm just dabbing here really. And there's a lot of dark underneath it. So it really looks like, a tree. So I'm going to take the back of the brush and just kind of make some lines where where you would see some of the tree trunk in there. Okay, so again, dipping into the white. I'm going to do this one right here. And this one's kind of behind it. So let's do this one. Drag this out here. This nice dark one in here. I'm going to put some of this on there. I'm going to keep this side, I think, pretty dark, maybe. I'm going to switch back to my other door because what I'm seeing here is losing my branches. I'm losing my branchiness. Okay. So here's my top. And these are my branches. It's kind of cool. Now we have this tree out in front. Okay, and I really like the shadow on this guy. So let's keep our shadow here. I'm going to take just a little bit of my blue here and add some right here, some blue to my trees. A little bit of blue to these back here. Let's bring these branches out here. Okay, really kind of pushing on this brush at this point so that I really getting better blend work, at least the background here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to switch to the angled head brush. Okay, like this. It has a little bit of a point to it. The angled brush. I'm going to pick up the white, and again, I want to see these branches a little bit better here. Okay, that's better. That to be better. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing all the way down here. So I'm putting this really bright white tree in the front. Okay, and you know that that's the way it's happening because everything else is kind of in the background here. So we're moving this one to the front. There we go. That's looking good. So these little guys back here, okay, I do want to give them a little bit of light. Okay, just a little. Okay, so this dabbing that's going on, we're trying to keep a tree-like structure, and you can see that there's still some dark stuff going on in the background here, okay, which we want to keep. Okay, now two kind of brownish bluish trees. Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. Brownish bluish. All right, and we're going to have this one and this one. Okay, and we're going to do this. The two trees, and we can see a little bit of the tree trunk. Okay, so going with the darker, once again, put this one in. And these trees actually are coming all the way down here. So bring them all the way down. Okay. So we have, this looks kind of cool here. So we have this going on. Okay, here and here. We'll darken this one just a tad. So at this point, we have quite a bit of paint on our canvas. Let's see here. This little guy comes all the way down here. So let's bring him down. This one comes all the way down here and almost down the hill here. This guy does not. Fix him. So these two are relatively close together. Let's keep them close together. This guy's a little higher. That works for me. Here. Let's fill this guy in a little bit more. Same thing here. And like I say, this paint has a tendency to dry on the fast side. So it's not quite dry yet, but it's dry enough that I can kind of dab on it and kind of push the paint into the canvas, certainly. So I'm going to go with a little bit of white here, and I want to touch these guys and get some white on there. Give them a little more highlights. Okay, so we're kind of deciding what's in the front now and what isn't by how bright we're making them. Okay, there's actually a little tree right here at the bottom. So I'm going to take this right off the easel and put this little guy in. And it's coming right off the canvas, right here, really, really in the front. Okay, so it kind of spreading out our branches as we come down the canvas. Okay, so the same way you can see these trees are in the front, and the other one's in the back. I know you can't see what's on my screen here, but I'm getting a little interference. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Okay. So you can see that one's really in the front. So I can do that to these as well. Okay, so I'm kind of liking those the way that they are. This one, I'd like to bring out a little bit more. So I'm going to go whiter on this guy. Okay. So again, when I do that, that puts this tree in the front. And this one you really can kind of see the tree trunk a little bit. So let's put this one in a little bit more. And coming down the side of the hill a little bit. And the water. Settled here. So that's a bigger one in the front. Okay. Give this one a little bit more depth as well. So that's going to push this one in the background even a little bit more. Okay, this guy is kind of behind the hill. Okay, so this hill is coming out this way and down this way. This guy. Okay. Have our tree shadows. So just making sure my shadows look like shadows. We actually have some shadow under these trees as well. Okay, we have a little bit of shadow here under this tree, like this. Have another little bit of shadow going on under this tree. So we can add in those little shadows, and it helps add some depth to our pictures. Okay. So I am going to put a little bit more white here. Not so much on this side, but lots on this side. Okay, bring this tree down. Okay, so I have these white fir trees going down here. Now these are relatively dark over here. I'm going to lighten them up just a tad, but I want to keep some of the darkness as well. Okay. This one in the back, we're not going to do too much to at all. It kind of just disappears into the side of the picture. But this one really kind of takes over. It comes down here. And maybe we'll get another little tree over here because we are the creator and we can do that. Okay, my heater turn on and off. All right. Okay. So now this is what we have. Let's see here. Let's see here. What we can do is to kind of show you what's going on here. How do we look? What do you think? What do you think? Awesomeness. Okay, after this dries a little bit, you can add some sparkle to your trees if you want to. Even though there aren't any in here, you can always customize and make it your own. And of course, for me, there's never enough bling on anything. Okay, so typically, and on my last one, which I do not have with me, I did put a little bit of bling on those trees. So, so you might want to. But let this dry really, really good before you put any accents on it. If you have any little faux jewels and stuff that you maybe want to put on the trees, add a little bit more sparkle to them. You can whitewash your moon if you want to, but I kind of like it just the way that it is. Okay, so I wouldn't do too much more to this picture at all. Like I say, it's one of my favorites. I really, really like it. Okay, so let's get you back over here. Let me see if I have any paint on my. I'm recording this on my laptop, and God love me, I get paint all over myself, all over the computer, all over the floor. Let me clean the floor. And like I said, I did end up moving the student's art bag. And next time she comes to class, she's going to be like, "Ah, Miss Joan," because she's 7. And Miss Joan, what happened to my art bag? And I'll just say, "Oh, I just painted it and decorated it for you, honey." Joan's Art Gallery of Haverhill. So it's Joan's Art Gallery of Haverhill. No more website because I'm semi-retired now. No, nothing. My picture. So that, and you can, I always put these up on the Intuitive Body and Soul website, which is www.intuitivebodyandsoul.com. You will be able to see these on Drake It TV. You'll be able to see these on BA TV. You'll be able to see these on the Great Haverhill Art Association website. Okay, so we're really, everyone is really doing their part to really reach out and have lots of fun things for people to do and to do together. Okay, you can get in touch with me. I have had people call me and say, "Joan, what color did you use for this? And how did you blend this? And blah, 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 and this thing." So if you have questions, absolutely, you can email me, Joanisser, J-O-A-N as in Nancy, I-S as in Susan, A, at comcast.net. All right, so you can email me there. 978-807-7608 is my cell phone number. If I do not answer you, leave a time when it's okay to call you, or sometimes I can text you an answer if it's not too involved. Okay, but there are like a zillion ways to get in touch with me. There's a lot of ways to get in touch with Drake Council on Aging, which, like I said, Bethany at Drake Council on Aging is the one who asked me to do these tutorials. And she is an amazing, amazing young lady. And if you have other concerns besides art, they do Meals on Wheels. They go live on Facebook every Monday morning with an exercise routine for seniors. If she does not know the answer to something, she will go to great lengths to find those answers for you. Okay, so there's a lot of people out there who really care. They care about you and they care about your well-being. Okay, all you have to do is let us know. Okay, we are definitely here. Okay, so this is my awesome picture. It was so much fun doing this with you. And I have, I think 3 more planned. And let me see if I have my cheat sheet with me so that you can see what's coming up. All right, this is the one I just did. This is Albuquerque Turkey. We just did him. All right, I have this coming up, and we're going to do that on an ornament, I believe. I believe this is another ornament type picture. And this snowman, okay, he looks, now that I look closely, it looks kind of involved. So I hope I didn't pick a really hard picture, but this one is going to go on a smaller canvas. All right, so this is a 16 by 20. I'm going to try doing this one on like an 8 by 10, so that not every single picture that you have, you need a great space in order to hang it, or if you're giving it as a gift to someone, you know, it's like, all right, this has to go over a couch or something, a sofa. So as always, you can do these pictures on absolutely any size canvas you want. Even when we do the rock painting, if you don't have any rocks and you don't want to put it on a rock, you can put it on a canvas, all right? And for the rock, we did a background color, and then we sketched the turkey on and painted them. Okay, so you could very easily do that on a canvas. Say this was the canvas. You would paint the background, this color, and then draw the turkey on and paint them. Okay, so there's a lot of flexibility here. And like I said, these people really care about you, and so do I. Okay, so if you have questions, you have any problems, you need some rocks, I have lots of rocks. You need some rocks, let me know. All right, so I am going to say good night. And again, join us anytime, anytime. All right, I am going to find the end button. Bye-bye, everyone.